So St. George, Utah is expected to double in the next 40 years. And to me, that actually seems a little bit of a long estimation.
Yeah, try 10.
Yeah, try 10. Well, maybe not 10. But to me, I mean, St. George is growing very quickly. And one of the good things about that is that when you come to St. George, you can get a lot of new construction. There's so much new construction homes going on here. So in this video, we're going to talk about where can you get this new construction? What part of St. George has this new construction? And maybe what are some of the pitfalls of this new construction?
So stay tuned. What's up, everybody? I'm Sean Dezad.
And I'm Courtney Dezad.
And we're with Keller Williams Realty right here in St. George, Utah. And if you're watching this channel, you might be thinking, I love St. George, Utah. I can't wait to pack up my bags and go. I want the warm winters, and I'm tired of the freezing cold winters, so I'm ready to go yesterday. And I totally get that. So what you want to do is you want to hit that subscribe button and click on the bell notification so you're notified every time a new video comes out. So you might be thinking, okay, I can't wait to move there, but I am totally overwhelmed. I am not in the area, I'm out of state. How do I actually check out these properties? So what you want to do is you want to reach out to me so that me and my team can make sure that you are taken care of and we can find that right property for you. So what you want to do is either give us a call, shoot us a text, or send us an email.
Or you can reach out to us via WhatsApp. However you want to get a hold of us, we've got your back. So if you come here to the St. George area, you can just see that it is growing. I mean, even the downtown, which is
already established.
Yeah, it's the most established.
Downtown, right?
Yeah, it's the most established part of the area. It is changing very quickly. I mean, St. George definitely is not known for nightlife, but it's even starting to get some nightlife. I mean, that spiritual, they just opened up. So there's just, everything's changing, everything's growing. You can see it all around, even in the older parts of St. George.
For sure. Like, we're just seeing outcroppings, because what's interesting about St. George is that it's not just this one fully developed like swath of land, right? It's these outcroppings of different developments, and even the more established stuff has these outcroppings too. And then over time, we'll probably see these, merge in some way with new development. But right now, we're still seeing a lot of construction sprinkled up throughout all of St. George.
Yeah, so let's put up the map. We'll put up a map and we can show you, here's just, here's just a moment in time. In St. George, we went on the MLS and just asked, only show us new construction. And what's interesting about St. George is that even though there's little pockets that maybe that's all new construction, for example, right down near the Arizona border, that is just where tons of new construction is happening.
Lots of stuff going on there, yeah.
Lots of new homes, not just that, but infrastructure to go along with it, new stores, new schools. All of this stuff is happening down there.
And even you go up north, like close to the amphitheater, you're seeing a ton of new construction there too.
Yeah, like in Ivins, near the Snow Canyon State Park, in the ledges. So you have these outcroppings and obviously in Hurricane as well. They have tons of new stuff going on there. I mean, so you have these bigger areas that are developing.
Yeah, like that along the extremities of the St. George, like Washington County areas.
Yeah.
But then what we're also seeing is that within these already established cities and areas, again, there's land, there's still some vacant land, which is kind of funny when you're coming from a different area, when you're going, okay, wow, like I just, you're used to like these cities merging together, like there's no like space.
Yeah, open space.
Yeah. So by here, again, it's a growing area, and so you're starting to see that those are starting to merge, but still plenty of open space there.
Yeah, and what's interesting is that, you drive around St. George and then you'll see maybe here's a little outcropping with just 40 homes. So there's these little pockets all over the place where these developments are, in addition to these bigger, more massive developments that are going on kind of at the outer edges of St. George. But it's just happening everywhere, all sorts of sprinklings everywhere. And even in some of the more established communities, they're not quite finished yet. And so they'll have even continuing building homes, and yeah, it's just growing. And what's cool about that too is that because you have all these different developments, you have all these different builders, so you might get the opportunity to find one particular builder or maybe an architect that you really, really love. For example, there was Whitworth Estates that it recently got sold out, and we were just in love with it. I mean, it was just gorgeous.
Yeah, it's in Washington, and it's cool. It's like a 40 unit subdivision there, and these houses, it's just really cool because they're nice larger size, like 3,000 plus square feet, 3-car garage, nice open floor plan, just a really cool, like larger lots too. I think they're like a 30-acre lots. So, and again, that's just one option, right? But then that same builder will have a different development, totally different kind of setup, right? Like maybe more in the 2,000 square foot range or whatever it might be. So it's really cool. You can get that variety.
Yeah, and it's just for us personally, our personal taste, that particular development was as if they had read our minds what we would want.
So if you're thinking, wow, I want that kind of home. I love that floor plan. I love the look. I love the layout. That's why you got to reach out to me so that way I can make sure that me and my team personally take care of you to really scope out these different properties.
So you're thinking about coming here to St. George and you may be wondering, so what is, the pros of purchasing new construction versus maybe a home that's more established, maybe that's 10 years old or something, or even older? I mean, because there's some older homes in the downtown area.
So I would say that some of the big pros is that it's brand new. So that's a big deal because these properties, again, buildings can last for decades. However, the newer it is, the nice thing is that you have a new roof, the foundation's new, you have new building standards that you're working with. The heating and AC are new. So a lot of these functional aspects plus structural stuff is brand new. So again, theoretically, you should have very little issues with the property, for a good bit.
Yeah, and what's also cool too is you'll get some new materials, to help with heating and cooling. And
is that necessary here? Do we have issues with insulation being necessary?
Yes, so obviously the builders here, they know that it gets hot in the summer, so they're using all of the newest technology to make sure that you're able to cool your house in the least expensive way as possible. Well,
and on top of that, and just beyond that part of it, how about just the flow of the property, right? Like that's a big deal. And as these floor plans evolve, I mean, obviously people are taking cues on what's working, what's not working. And, some of the things that are like really popular today, or were popular before, were like the formal living room and the formal dining room. These places that a lot of people actually didn't really use. They're kind of like, it's there, it's nice, but it's kind of like wasted space in a lot of ways. And so what we're seeing is that with newer construction, these properties they're like eliminating that, just making bigger rooms, bigger great rooms where, let's say that's where people would be spending most of their time.
Another cool thing about purchasing a home here in St. George is that, let's say it's not new construction, but what's cool is that there's already a lot of reselling of homes that maybe it's 3 years old, but it's basically new construction. So talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, you see properties all the time like showing up that are like 1, 2, 3 years old. So you're pretty much getting brand new construction for all intents and purposes without having to wait, for that to be built. So it's nice that it's already done. So it just adds more options and availability because maybe the location of the new construction isn't as ideal for your own specific situation as, let's say, something that's a resold home.
So now let's start talking about some of the pitfalls of new construction.
And this one isn't really technically really a pitfall. It's just a matter of preference, I would say.
Yeah, so the first pitfall that we're going to talk about, but there's pros and cons to this pitfall, is HOAs or homeowners associations.
So you're saying this is a pros and cons within a pros and cons.
It is. It's very meta.
Yeah, it's very.
But anyways, okay. So talk about the pros and cons of homeowners associations, because usually when you buy new construction, you will be part of a homeowners association.
Yeah, so what we're seeing is that, unless it's just a one-off, like maybe someone has just a one parcel and they're just developing a house, that may not be in an HOA. However, a lot of these subdivisions, these developments, they're going to have let's say, an outcropping of 40 homes, 60 homes, 100 homes. Those very likely will be in a homeowners association. And so a couple things. One, it's nice because you do have some uniformity in that things have a somewhat common feel. Let's say things are kept up a certain way. You do have something over, so you don't have this house that just looks like this monstrosity, on one end, or a shack, either. So the streets are kept up pretty well. Now, what some people do hate about homeowners associations, though, and actually one other thing that they do like is that there may be some common amenities like pools and spas and that kind of thing, or tennis courts.
Yeah. Parks,
yeah. But then some of the cons is that, okay, one, you have HOA dues, and that can range all over the place. I couldn't even tell you, it really depends on the development, how much those HOA dues are. They could be $20 a month, they could be $200 a month. It's hard, even for a house, right? So it's just really hard to say. And then on top of that, people tend to, some people really are going, you know what, never will I live in an HOA. This is my home. I don't want someone to tell me what I can do with my home, like what color I can paint it, what, like how I can, let's say, extend the house if I want to. They don't want to have that oversight. So, and I totally get that. So that's where, again, if that's something you're thinking to yourself, I will never be in an HOA ever, ever, ever. And I totally get that. That's why you got to reach out to me so I can make sure that you're personally taken care of to find that house that avoids that issue.
So now some of the other pitfalls of purchasing new construction has to do with lending. And again, Sean and I, we're not lenders, so we're just gonna give you some general overview of, what are some of the pitfalls, but definitely reach out to your lender to talk about the specifics.
And if you don't have a lender, obviously you can reach out to us. We have, lenders that we could certainly let, that are well versed in this stuff to help you navigate that process.
Yeah.
However, some of the pitfalls I will say, because I used to be a lender way back when, is that, okay, when you're doing a new construction and it's not it's not ready to be moved into right away.
Yeah, because a lot of times you buy new construction and it's not built for 6 months.
To be built, even.
Yeah.
Like it could be a year out, possibly. And that's where you're taking a little bit of a leap of faith.
It's a leap of faith.
Because you got to know that what loan you have, okay, one, are you counting on that interest rate? Because we're living in an environment where interest rates are extremely volatile, and so what might be your interest rate today may be very different tomorrow, and it could be, and that's where you would want to, let's say, lock in your rate.
Yeah, but if you lock in your rate, what can happen?
Oh, so first a lock in, First lock in, say, let's say you want an interest rate at 4%. I'm just throwing out a number. Well, okay, you want to keep that rate, right? So you're saying, okay, I'm locking in this rate. This is going to be the rate I'm going to pay. So then that rate, the longer you hold it, so if it's a 30-day lock, pretty normal, standard run of the mill, 45-day, 60-day. If you're doing a new construction where it's 6 months, 9 months, a year out, the longer you're holding that lock typically means the more expensive it is to keep that lock, to make that lock happen. So your loan fees are going to go up because you have this extended rate lock. And beyond just the rate lock, then you also have, okay, well, what is the loan program you're trying to get? Because what we've seen in the past, that loan programs can, what's here today, like let's say there is some sort of shock to the system, like a pandemic or what might have happened, or a war or whatever.
Are you saying the world is volatile now?
Yeah, it seems to be very volatile these days. And
can we go back to 2019?
I know, so simple then.
I know.
But the thing is that what we're seeing is that these loan programs, two things can happen. One, that loan program that you, let's say, signed up for could be just eliminated altogether. It was an investor product, like, let's say you don't qualify under the normal lending standards. So they have these investor products, or non-QM is what they kind of call it. And so these are investor products. Now, what we saw in the beginning, the outside of that pandemic, is that those were really popular, and then the pandemic hit, and then they went away. The appetite for investors to invest in those kind of loans went away altogether. There's just way too much uncertainty. So you might be thinking, okay, I'm going to use this loan. It's not there not there a year from now. So that's one thing. Second is that the parameters of the loan that you're qualified for might change too. Like I actually had that situation happen during the pandemic also, where someone was qualified under a loan program and they, their debt to income the ratio was just fine, right? Like they worked, they fit under the parameters. The parameters changed where the debt to income maximum limit went down. And then we dealt with a situation where that buyer unfortunately wasn't qualified anymore, so the deal fell through. So that's where you're kind of that's one of the pitfalls, is because again you're taking that leap of faith that your whole situation might stay the same. I mean, like people lose jobs, people change jobs, all these things happen. So obviously it can dramatically affect your loans.
Yeah, for example, Sean's sister recently purchased new construction and they had to be scrambling for their loan because what happened? Because they bought it and then, or they put their, they basically went into escrow, but it took a while to build. So then what happened?
Well, and this is an interesting one too. So what happened was that this is a new development altogether. And so the loan program was same, their employment situation was same, nothing changed from that perspective. However, the lender got a hold of the rules and regulations of the community, and they found and they got really concerned about one particular aspect of it. And that lender said, nope, we cannot lend here. So my sister had to scramble to try to find a different loan. It worked out for her, but I'm just saying that these are these pitfalls. And again, when you're dealing with an interest rate environment that's like this, it can be very costly.
Although one plus about purchasing new construction is that maybe, you go into escrow on it at a certain price, and then by the time you purchase it, depending on whatever's going on in the environment, you've already got a significant amount of equity. So talk about that.
Yeah, that does happen where you buy in, and and if you're dealing with like an appreciating environment, which St. George has dealt with a lot. We've had a lot of appreciation last couple of years, really, and so you're locking in that price. And you're locking that price for possibly a year. And then all of a sudden you're looking at a situation where like, hey, I'm moving into this house with some amazing equity right off the bat. So that certainly can be a plus because you're just locking in equity right from the get-go.
Yeah, that's why sometimes when you're driving around here, you'll see these little new construction lots. And, I like to just drive in them just, to look around. And then you'll see the signs and it's like, 500,000.
You're like, wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh yeah, you need to make that 7.
Yeah.
That 5 is long gone.
That was from 6 months ago. So they just haven't changed the sign yet. So anyways, long story short, there is tons of new construction going on.
And newer construction.
Newer construction going on here in St. George. It is a growing, vibrant area. And one thing I do think is that people really care about the area and they're trying to make sure that the growth is happening in a responsible way because everyone wants to make sure that this is a great place to live and it stays that way. So I do feel that people care about their community here. So that's a cool thing about it. But anyways, if you are interested in this sort of new construction, this is definitely an area that will allow you to get that. So that's it. That's our video.
Now you may be thinking, okay, I'm ready to move to St. George. Let's go, but I am completely overwhelmed. How am I going to make this move happen? And that's where you want to reach out to me and my team so we can personally make sure that you're taken care of and we'll find that right property for you so that way, and we'll be your eyes and ears on the ground. We will check out those properties virtually if necessary, either on the phone or like via FaceTime or even through 360 videos. And these homes are moving really fast. So, if you want to get this process started right away, you got to either give us a call, shoot us a text, or send us an email.
Or you can reach out to us via WhatsApp. However you want to get a hold of us, we've got your back.